video, we are going to review Clown in the Cornfields. It is a long-awaited video for us because we watched it several months ago and just got back from seeing Clown in the Cornfield, and I have to say I am pleasantly surprised. Several people have probably already reviewed this movie, but
we just rewatched it actually on Joe Bob. So if you guys, any Joe Bob fans out there, he had the writer of the book, because this is kind of like a YA, book that's been out for a couple of years. It's like a whole series. And then he also had the director of the movie on there. So it was like an interesting kind of dynamic interview. So we rewatched it, and we're going to go through it today and give our review.
Yeah.
So this is a movie that is based on like generations and how they're different and they get pitted against each other. And it's obviously a horror movie. So that's the theme of the whole flick. It also has dynamics of like, country bumpkins versus the city folk, everything like that.
This isn't like my favorite horror movie, but I was pleasantly surprised by how much I did enjoy it. I really liked the characters. I mean, the characters were unlikable, but in the best way. They weren't bad actors by any means. They made them to where you were excited to see them get offed. Also, one thing about the characters is that they were actually pretty funny. There were some moments where I did chuckle, like, oh, that was clever and cute.
Call 911. Where's the button, Jen? What is this? What kind of phone is this?
So it's obviously, like Kenny said, it was based off a young adult novel, where it's like, stick it to the man, but it was really enjoyable to watch. It is not a deep movie. There's not a whole lot to figure out. You kind of know what you're getting into. It is basically a typical slasher, but I will say they did a great job setting up each scene. They didn't take so long to get into the characters. Like some movies can go over the top with explaining everybody's backstory, and it just gets really boring. But this went right into the kills, and I really love that.
Another thing I liked is it's obviously a clown. Clowns are overdone so much, so it already has that against it. But it was enjoyable kills. The plot was decent enough. It wasn't annoying. It got the job done. It got from A to B, and that's really what this movie is all about, right? Like, you are here to not be. It needs to be a cohesive movie where people die by clowns, and it checked that box 100%. Like I said earlier, it's not a deep movie. Now, I could see probably in the book, this is a series too, how there is bigger themes of generations and traditions, and that's hinted at, and I get the point. But for me personally, like, none of that landed in the movie. There were some kind of preachy moments.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
It wasn't like overly preachy. It wasn't annoying, but
I kept like kind of gritting my teeth, like, oh, is this going to be like really cringe and like overly preachy? And it didn't. It was like just enough to get the point across. Now, I wanted to touch on the thing you said about clowns and how they're overdone in scary movies. Clowns are actually very scary to me and to many people, which is why you see them a lot as in themes. But with this movie in particular, I would say that the use of the clown villain was creative, in my opinion.
Well, you have to be creative if you're going to do a clown.
Right.
Because it's so overdone, you can't just have no backstory or no reason. Great example of that is the Terrifier franchise. If you're going to just have a clown and you're going to make it as big of a movement and franchise as the Terrifier has been, you have to think super outside of the box, because you can go on Tubi or Netflix and find 20 low-budget clown movies.
Probably more than that, honestly.
Just being able to accomplish that and have a genuine new idea about the clowns and doing it in a way to where it was enjoyable. And to my point earlier, having the clowns kill people in fun ways, that is what everyone is there for, 100%. So it did that. The rest of the movie was just kind of whatever. The acting was fine. Didn't really care about the father-daughter relationship too much. Didn't really care about the romance. So yeah, like the whole dynamics of like the father and daughter, some of the romances between the teenagers, and even just some of the, I guess, relationships and hatreds between the generations itself. Not a huge fan of that. It didn't ruin the movie, but I just wasn't there for that. I could have taken it or left it.
Mhm.
So that was a negative for me. But again, I got clowns killing people in fun, like interesting ways and creative ways. There was a few notable ones where I was like, all right, yeah, that's a good one there.
Mhm.
The final girl is kind of lukewarm for me. She's not annoying, but she's not too memorable. She gets the job done. Um, and again, all of the other characters, no one is sticking out as like an amazing performance actor, actress. Everyone's just kind of getting the job done. And I was okay with that.
Yeah. Um, I would agree with you on that as well. I would say, like I said before, the characters I liked. I didn't care, like their acting wasn't bad or like phenomenal. It was good. It was enjoyable. The characters that the actors were portraying were not the most likable, so it was very exciting to see them get killed. Um, but then I think there were some that I did start to like toward the end there. But anyway, that's beside the point. So another thing that I want to mention is that Eli Craig, who is the son of Sally Fields, is the director of this movie, which I thought was pretty cool. The movie was directed pretty well, I would say. Like I said before, it got straight to the point. There wasn't a whole lot of fluffy dialogue that some movies tend to do. It just, you got the gist of the characters. You weren't confused. Everything was pretty straightforward. But the movie was a nice, easygoing,
Good date night. Just go to the
yeah,
movies,
just a fun film if you want something that's slasher, like a
yeah.
slasher film.
But I wouldn't have super high expectations. This is, we rewatched it because it was on Joe Bob and we wanted to
Yeah.
see some interviews, but I don't see myself rewatching it again, which is fine. There's a lot of horror movies you just see one time and it's as long, you're good to go there. So,
But I don't feel aggravated by it.
no,
Like
if it
some
was just
movies,
on, like if someone was just watching it or whatever, yeah, it's fun, especially for Halloween. It checks the boxes, right? You got clowns, you got hayfields, cornfields, small towns. So if you're just trying to
yeah,
check the box and have
mischievous teens getting into trouble.
teens.
Yeah, just your classic film.
All right, guys. So that was Clown in a Cornfield. It's a fun slasher movie. Nothing too deep. I would say check it out. If you want to see clowns killing people of all generations in interesting and creative and fun ways, yeah, give it a watch.